What's up, you guys? Happy Monday. Hope you are having a good one. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. As always, it is a pleasure to be here with you guys today. So welcome. If this is your first time joining us, this live stream is dedicated toward answering your questions about AI, automations, and systems. So to give you a quick summary of who I am and my background, essentially, my name is Kurzhal, and my background is in software engineering. So I've done that for over 11 years now. I've worked as a chief technology officer. I've worked as a principal engineer, and I am looking forward to answering your questions about AI automation and systems. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're a small business owner, if you are even just somebody who wants to learn a little bit more about how they can automate portions of their workload, then this is for you. The questions can be as simple as, hey, like, what's the best chatbot to use right out of the gate for my business, to something more complex like, okay, well, how do we make sure that my customers are getting everything that they need through their chatbot integration, and how do we make sure we create like opportunities in the pipeline and so on and so forth. So that's the point of today's live Q&A. We are also doing something special right now for everyone who joins us. We are doing a giveaway of Alex Hormozi's new book, $100 Million Money Models. So today I'm giving away a total of 5 copies to anyone who enters into the giveaway. We are going to be doing that at the end. So if you are coming in as you are asking your questions, as I answer your questions, you can always take a second to go fill out the form on the chat. I've got it currently on, you know what? Actually, I need to go ahead and post that for you guys today because I do a unique link for every one of these giveaways. So if you are on YouTube, you should see that coming in there, and I'm going to pin that for you so that way it's really easy to find. And then if you're on Facebook, you should be able to see that. Oh, I missed YouTube, Facebook. So let me go ahead and click there we go. Okay, so now we're live on Facebook as well as YouTube. So folks on Facebook, I was just kind of giving an overview of what this time is for. It's intended for you to be able to come ask your questions about AI automation systems, whether you are somebody who's an entrepreneur, solopreneur, small business owner. You could be somebody with very little experience, someone with a lot of experience. It doesn't really matter. I want you to bring your questions about AI automations and systems. I've got links to the questions form inside of the chat on YouTube and Facebook. You can go click that link, fill out the form, ask your question. I see those questions come in live on my side, and then I go through and answer those questions. And as I was telling the folks on YouTube, we are doing a giveaway today of Alex Hormozi's new book, $100 Million Money Models. I have a link here for you to sign up for an entry if you would like an opportunity to win. I've gone ahead and put that in YouTube. I'm going to go ahead and pop that into the chat and comments on Facebook as well. So you should be able to see that there now. So as I'm kind of going through things, go through, fill out those forms if you'd like a chance to win a copy of Alex Hormozi's book. It's a physical copy, by the way. So if you win, I'm going to send you the link. You're going to get, once you go in and fill out that link, you're going to see the discounted book. And then you just have to pay for the shipping. So hopefully that's exciting for you guys. I gave one out to a good friend of mine, Ed, who came last week and submitted an entry. He was the only one to submit an entry. So he won one of those copies, and we are trying to give away 5 more today. So if you'd like a chance to win those copies, please definitely go fill out that form now. So to kick off our session today, what I want to do is something a little different. And I may change up this format as well, because I know folks who are trickling in will probably have questions that they want to submit to the question form. So in the meantime, to kind of kick off our session, I want to start with a piece of tech here, or like a tech update that I think is going to be really important for entrepreneurs, for small business owners to consider as they are moving forward and trying to make sales online, particularly if you are selling products. But I think this could also apply very easily to services as well. So let me share my screen here so that way you guys can see this. So you should be able to see here on the screen this announcement from Google. So they recently announced this AI commerce, protocol called the Agent Payments Protocol, or AP2. So this announcement is actually a pretty big deal for folks who have been kind of following along in the AI space. You know that one of the challenges that we currently face with AI is, if you want AI to actually go out and do something on your behalf, to actually interact with a service, you've had to supplement that in some way. So more recently, in the last year, we've had this release of this protocol called the Model Context Protocol, MCP, which essentially allows service providers to make their services available to AI models. And then those AI models can reach out and interact with the services. So for example, you could have an MCP server that exposes your email. And so then you could have your agent, your chatbot, change to use the, oh man, sorry for the distraction. I had this light change here for me. That was a little weird. So as I was saying, you could have your agent or your chatbot reach out to your email through MCP and interact with it in a more efficient way without having to manually code a bunch of stuff. There's a lot of other services that are being made available right now that allow that. One of the missing pieces of this is, okay, well, what if I want my AI, maybe I want it to act as a personal assistant and I want it to actually go make purchases on my behalf. I want it to be able to go buy groceries for me. Or, I've got some skincare products that I need, or hair care products that I need. Or maybe, I'm looking for some kind of new course to teach me about some kind of topic or concept. And I want it to find the best one for me. And then I want it to buy the course for me, so that way I don't have to worry about it. You wouldn't have a way to do that very easily at the moment until this protocol was released. So this protocol essentially enables AI employees or AI agents to be able to interact with other services to make purchases on your behalf. And the rough idea here is, at a high level, just to kind of summarize it, is that this protocol, it exposes the merchant services. And so when the AI goes to the service on your behalf to purchase, it goes back and forth with the service. And then what ends up happening is you get a notification, hey, your AI wanted to actually make a purchase on your behalf. Will you confirm this? And so you hit, yes, I confirm that purchase, and then boom, you're ready to go. Because you need to make sure it's not just randomly purchasing things. You need to have some control over it, unless you've explicitly, said up front, hey, I'm just going to permit all purchases. I would not recommend that as a software guy, but that's the idea. So this new protocol that Google released enables this. Now, why is this important for business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, whatever? The reason this is important is because it means that in the next, I would say, I'm just kind of gonna guess here, you're gonna probably see within about the next year, this protocol adopted and made available on various service providers. For example, Shopify. or any of these big platforms out there. You can see a list of the organizations that they have currently. So we've got Aiden, American Express, Ant International, Coinbase, Etsy, Forder, Intuit, JCB, MasterCard, Miston Labs, PayPal, Revolut, Salesforce, ServiceNow, UnionPay, International, WorldPay, and more. And so, I mean, a lot of those are, card processors. I mean, there's several card processors in here. And what's really interesting also is that Coinbase is kind of getting in on this. So it sounds like we're probably going to start to see integration with cryptocurrency. And then we also see here an example of a company, Etsy, that offers products that you can purchase. So I anticipate that probably in this next year, we're going to start to see these big platforms adopt these technologies. And you will be able to start to use your AI agents, your AI employees, whatever you want to call them, your chatbots. You're going to start to be able to use these to actually make purchases online. And for some folks, that may scare you a little bit, but this is the direction we're moving. And I think that this is going to make it more and more feasible to be able to actually create these like personal assistants that can do things on our behalf in the real world. So again, we're already kind of seeing the integration with different services out there. This is just the next step in that. And so again, in this next year is kind of what I expect, because you have to take into consideration, these folks have obviously been working with Google to some degree to get this protocol released. But they also have to get it on the roadmap. So it takes a couple of months depending on how complicated the protocol is and their own internal systems and things like that. It might take, 6 months. Some could maybe move as fast as 3 months, but you're probably going to see a lot of them somewhere between about 6 months to a year. So that's what I anticipate. And if you're a small business owner, that means that you need to start thinking about, well, okay, how can I take advantage of this kind of stuff, right? Are there things that I can do to facilitate this trend and make my products or my services purchasable with AI agents? Now, it's going to probably be a little bit of time, obviously, before you can really kind of start to see, well, how do I do this for my business, depending on the platform that you're using. But you should definitely keep an eye on this and kind of see what platforms are starting to enable these features, because you may want to be a first mover to a particular platform to ready your business for these changes, so that way you can be there already as a market leader, ready to just immediately start handling requests for your products or for services, right? It's a good way to get ahead of the competition in ways that people are probably not already aware of or not thinking about a lot. So anyways, hopefully this is interesting to you guys. The rest of this announcement, they get into some like high level stuff, and then there's also some technical stuff, but that's kind of the gist of this. So they're just trying to make this stuff available for AI agents, and you can kind of see, like the full list of partners here. Wow, there's some interesting stuff here. Like you can see Razer is here. Manus is already on there. So that's going to be, they're going to try to provide that to their AI agents. Let's see what other ones. Is there anything obvious? At least to me, I'm sure you guys see these and probably recognize several of them. Okay. What'll be interesting to me is like when we start to see a lot of these, these product or service platforms integrating this protocol. Like you can see like Shopee or shop, however you pronounce that, is there, so on and so forth. All right. So that's going to do it for our introduction today. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and move on to our live Q&A. If you are coming in and you've got questions about AI, automation, or systems, I've got a form that I posted in the chat on YouTube and also in Facebook. It should be like in the comments or the chat. You should see that there. You can go ahead and submit that. I'll see those questions come in live on my side, and I'm going to be answering those until the end of our time. So we usually do about 30 minutes. And then towards the end, what we're going to do is a giveaway. So we're giving away 5 copies of Alex Hormozi's new book, $100 Million Money Models. And if you'd like a chance to win, I also have a form in the chat. You can click that link, go ahead and fill that out. And that's both, again, on YouTube and Facebook. So go ahead and fill that out now. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the QR code if you want to do it that way as well. And we'll do that toward the end. So in the meantime, until we get there, we got about 10-15 minutes before we kind of wrap it up here. So let me go ahead over to my questions for the day. And let's see what we can answer here. And I'm going to try to do a little better. If you don't fill out the form and you put it in the chat, I'm going to also try to check the chat here and there because, I sometimes having to go fill out a form, navigate away from the app is a pain in the butt. I don't yet have an integration to be able to collect those automatically. So y'all will have to bear with me. That's something that hopefully I will be able to work on in the near future. So let's get to our questions. Okay. So Yara asks, can automation tell me which clients are costing me money? That's an interesting question, Yara. I guess it depends on, what you're doing to be able to track. So you need some way, first of all, to measure that, right? If you don't really have a good way to measure how your clients are costing you money, then you're not going to be able to create an automation for it. And so this is the thing about any kind of automation, any kind of AI, anything like that. They always depend on a defined process. So if you can't define your processes for your business, even as a simple like checklist in a Word doc or something like that, there's no way you're going to be able to determine what kind of automation you should create, because automations are just a written form of a process, and whatever runs is going to depend on what's written, right? So I would say first, you need to make sure that you have some kind of process defined that will help you measure how your clients are potentially costing you money. And then what I would say is, after you have that process written, then you can create an automation to actually address that and identify what clients are costing you the most money. You can automate the process of collecting that information. For example, if you've got it, maybe it's by pulling information from a database and collecting it. Maybe it's then putting it into some kind of report, or into an Excel spreadsheet that has some kind of like charts or something like that. Like, there's all sorts of ways that you can collect data and that you can visualize it. So the answer is yes, but again, Yara, just make sure that you have your processes defined up front. Okay, let's take a look at our next question for the day. So Sean asks, can AI draft a seller's net sheet automatically? A seller's net sheet. I haven't heard the term net sheet before. I'm assuming this has to do with real estate, Sean. Yes, I would say probably so. You're gonna have to. What you're probably dealing with is like a PDF of some kind, right? So, you're just gonna have to make sure like your system, whatever system you use, can first generate the text that actually needs to go in, and then secondly can actually write to some kind of PDF file. One way that you might be able to leverage automation, and so this would be a mix of automation plus maybe some AI, would be maybe what you do is you have some kind of template, like a PDF template or something like that. Maybe you create it in a system like DocuSign, or if you're using like Go High Level, for example, and there's a bunch of others out there. But DocuSign or Go High Level is a document system. Maybe you create like a template of some kind, and then you have your system based on some kind of input about the property, then go fill out all of that information. And I'm sure you probably would need to run a bunch of calculations depending on whatever it is that you're doing. So the answer, Sean, is yes, you should be able to draft most things. But you want to make sure like you kind of give it some parameters of how it's going to do that, whether it's by actually constraining the document by creating the template first and then doing it. That's probably the best way to give it the most guidance. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you could obviously tweak the system prompt on an AI to kind of point it in the direction that you want it to go, and make sure you put the constraints that you have, the parameters that you have in place, so that way it doesn't go off the rails. All right, Sean, I hope that answers your question. Let me take another question here, and then I'm going to go take a look at the chat to see if we have anything in the chat. So for folks who are coming in, I'm reading questions off of my form that I have that in the chat. People submit those questions. I see those come in live. So Alice asks, can AI generate blog posts that actually sound like me? Alice, the answer to that question is yes, it can actually generate blog posts that sound like you. The key to this is to make sure that you have built out a database, essentially, of your articles, of things that you've written, so that way it has a reference of examples that it can use when it is writing. One of the simplest ways that I have done this is by essentially creating like a Word doc, and I'm using Google Docs. So I use a Google Doc and I create tabs in my Google Doc, and each tab is like a different post, for example. So then I go write my article, and so then I keep doing that over and over again, and then I've got this essentially database of content that I've written. What I do is I take that and I actually feed it into ChatGPT, and I say, hey, ChatGPT, will you please give me a list of relevant hashtags for this content? And so then it gives me the hashtags, and then I use that in my post. The benefit of doing that, following that process, is number one, again, I have a database of all my posts that I can use at any time, right? As a reference point for my writing style. And then secondly, by feeding it into ChatGPT over time and giving it, asking it for hashtags in that chat, then I already have my context all loaded with samples of my writing. And so then at the drop of a hat, if I say, hey, you know, I want to write about this topic, I've got these main points, I need, you know, I just don't have time to write the full article. What I can do is I can leverage ChatGPT's context of me with my previous articles. And I can say, hey, go write an article in the style that I have provided previously with these topics or whatever. And does a pretty darn good job. Now, you got to be careful, obviously, about it going off the rails eventually, right? And that's just where managing the context comes into play. You got to be careful with that kind of stuff. And then the other thing is, like, you want to make sure at the very least that you're reviewing it, so that way whatever it's outputting, you're actually like providing real value for people, and it's written in a way that really connects with people. Like, you don't want to just hand it off to a machine and then the machine just creates a bunch of garbage, right? Like, if you're creating content, you want to make sure that you're doing your absolute best to provide value to the people that are reading that content. So I hope that answers your question. I'm going to go ahead and go over to our chat to see if we have any additional questions or comments in our chat. Okay, I don't see anything here on YouTube or Facebook. If you're just now joining us, make sure that if you've got questions, you go fill out the form that I have in the chat. And if you'd like to win a copy of Alex Hormozi's new book, $100 Million Money Models, at the end of this live stream, so that's going to be in, well, right about now, actually, you have about 1 minute or less to go ahead and enter for the giveaway. We're giving up to 5 copies of this book away. These are physical copies. If you win the giveaway, then you are going to get emailed a link to be able to redeem a copy of the book. You just pay for shipping and then it'll be shipped right to you, but it's like $30 worth of savings on this book, and then it'll arrive at your doorstep. So let me see if we've got any more live questions that have come in. Okay, I'm not seeing any more questions. So we are going to take a look and see if folks have entered the giveaway, because I've had several sessions already where nobody has entered the giveaway, and so we just roll it over to the next one and we add a book. We finally were able to give away one copy last week to a friend of mine, Ed, who came by and asked a question. But these copies are just sitting around waiting for somebody to claim them. So if you would like to win a copy, you have just a couple seconds left before I get into my system and I look to see what entries we have here. All right, let's go over. I've got so many windows, guys. There we are. Okay. All right, let me go over to my form. Let's look at this one. Let's look at our submissions. All right, guys. Let me reload here. All right, we've got some submissions today. All right. And it looks like there's one that I missed. So I think we're going to go back and we're going to give away, we're going to also give away a copy to that one that I missed before as well. All right, let me refresh. Okay. I see Ed here today. Ed, do you want another copy? All right. So here are our giveaway winners for the day, guys. So we've got JJ Husky. We've got Ed again. Ed, I might have to cap you if you come in for another one. We've got JJ Husky. We've got Ed, excuse me, Ed Vitarelli. I apologize. I don't know how to say your last name. And then from a couple weeks ago, I missed this one, but we have Miguel Campos. So I see all of you guys here. You guys are going to get a link to that copy. I'm going to be using your email address that you used to submit in the form, and you should see that sometime in the next couple hours. If you do not see that, because when I was chatting with Ed the last time, we had some problems getting that to him. Just reach out to me on probably Facebook. You could also find me on Instagram or whatever. Send me, like, reach out to me, and maybe in the messenger or wherever you're doing it, send me the email that you used in the form so I know you're the same person, because this is live. I announce your name and people could pretend to be you. So I want to make sure you are the actual one to get the copy. I think what we're going to do is go ahead, now that we have those 3 winners, I didn't see any others come in. So 3 of those copies are now gone. We have 2 left that are going to carry over to the next week. And then we're going to add a copy next week as well. So we're going to have a total of 3 copies next week that we give away. If you want a chance to win like extra entries next week, or you have friends, for example, that might like a copy, then you need to bring a friend. If you bring a friend and you have them put your name in there, what I'll do is I will give you an extra entry as well. So bring a friend next time. That gives you an extra entry, and your friend will also get an entry. All right, y'all. I am going to go ahead and kind of bring us to a close here for the end of live. But I wanted to let you guys know that if you arrive just a few minutes too late to be able to enter into the giveaway, that is okay. You are going to have a chance to come next week. You can get reminded for our future live Q&As. Typically, I try to do these on Monday evenings, but you can get those reminders by email if you sign up using the link inside of Facebook. You could also use this QR code, and I'm going to go ahead and post this link. Oh, I see your post there, JJ. You are so welcome. I hope you really, really enjoyed the book, man. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and post this live Q&A reminder in Facebook as well, so you guys can go ahead and sign up for that. If you got questions, then we'll be try to do these every week at least once. Now, the other thing that you see there on my screen, so I have this online community called the AI Employee Club. It is really new. We don't have a lot of people in there right now, but the point of that community is for you to be able to get extra help with AI and automation. So we've got a chat in there. You come in, ask your questions. You get more direct access to me. You're going to be able to get extended live Q&As. So right after this, I actually go for another like 30 minutes to an hour where we get into additional questions. Like if you want to get into something really nitty gritty, something that you're running into, we can work through it together. That's supposed to be a smaller group. It's supposed to be more private. But when there are no additional questions, the other thing that we're doing is we're building out things. So for example, right now, one of the things I'm building out is a giveaway bot that I can integrate with hopefully the chat on like Facebook and YouTube. So I want to make this process of sharing the links and things like that much easier. I would love for it to be able to announce winners automatically for me. It pulled the data from my Go High Level system. So that's the kind of stuff that we're doing. We're using N8N to build that out. So if you don't know how to code, that's okay. You can learn how to use N8N and you can ask questions. The other thing that you get when you join that community is access to special resources. for example, we did a live 1-day challenge where folks learned how to set up an AI phone receptionist from scratch and go high level. We did it we started with a very simple AI receptionist, and then we worked our way up to a whole phone system with multiple AI receptionists. This is the type of stuff that I do for clients. And so you get access to that challenge inside of the community. I actually sell that as a separate course as well. So it gets included in your membership. So that's what the AI Employee Club is. If that's something that would be of interest to you, then definitely join today, because the next 150 people to join are going to also get a copy of Alex Hormozi's $100 million money model. So that is a guaranteed copy if you join today. And I will cover the shipping for that one as well. All right, y'all. We're going to end here. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for asking your questions. Thank you for hanging around with us to the end. I hope you guys got some value out of it today. We are going to go ahead and close it out here and head over to the AI Employee Club. So thank you guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye.